let's just say you got a used motor and it needs a set of pistons. Well, you're gonna put a new set in. How big a deal is honing the cylinders actually? If this Jeep will start, it's gonna sound terrible. It needs pistons. When I get in the shop, I'll explain what's going on, but this will be pretty interesting. Not sure if anybody's ever actually tried doing it this way. Let's see if we can get the hood up. It's lovely weather we're having. I like to tell the story when I get the Jeep in the shop, but this is a one owner. Just use my head here. I can only assume the battery's dead. We'll see. Actually got juice. Whew. They let this one go a little too far, so I'm gonna get it in the shop. Maybe it's not froze to the ground. So I just want to explain the Jeep first, and that'll kind of help the story, and then I'll explain what we're going to be doing with it. Older lady bought it brand new. I've got the title where she bought it from this dealership right here. Lives a couple miles from me. I wouldn't call it overly maintenance, but never missed an oil change, never missed nothing, just well taken care of. I'm pretty sure, snow's melting. I'm pretty sure her husband cleaned the inside every single day. Got cleaned every day, has nothing to do with maintenance. I did a lot of the maintenance years ago on it, so I know it's been well taken care of. Nothing's ever been wrong with it. Pretty sure she drove it every single day. Bought it new to 02, I think, 01, 02, and got nearly pushing 300,000 miles, but I seen her every single day. So that's what I always get when I buy these that are like blowed up or pistons. They always try to blame, well, my wife didn't check the oil, or my daughter run it hot, or my son was raw. You know, could those be a playing factor? Yes, but this one's never been run hot. It's changed oil every 3,000 miles, perfectly serviced. You know, nothing's ever been, she's not doing burnouts, nothing like that. It was just a daily driver. Went on, the pet turned into a slap, and then it turned into what you're hearing. So it was just a lengthy process of letting go. But I'm sure everything else is a contributing factor to the pistons busting, but just hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, heat cycles. It's just something that happens. It's nobody's fault. Nobody's to blame. Not brand oil. Not. Yeah. So years of doing this, people would hire me to do it when I was doing it. And literally, I've had people so cheap, they would make me take them all out, find the one that had the worst crack, put the rest back in, go get a used piston, put it in there, same rod bearings, and even valve cover gaskets. I've never taught this, but they'd be so henny pinching, I would stack, double, triple stack, used valve cover gaskets, just so we didn't have to buy any parts. Reuse everything. I don't think I ever reused oil, but where I was going was, it's not always in my hands. You have people that want it fixed cheap as possible. Then you have customers that want the best that it can get. So over the years, I've done work on both ends. One of my videos, changing pistons, I've never honed it. And I'm not saying honing is, and I'm not saying you need to hone or don't need to hone. They obviously do it for a reason. But just over the years, I've never done it. and they run fine. So that's where this video is going. This Jeep needs pistons, but I was tired of doing piston swap videos, so I got the dream of, let's pull this thing apart as long as it's usable, and let's obviously document what we do, and maybe don't hone 2 cylinders, and then I got stone hone, like the cheap hones. We'll do them 2 cylinders, and then we got the ball hones. I'll show you. That's the ones everybody made fun of, but it turns out that's what all the professionals use. Here I am getting made fun of using a professional tool, whatever. But I want to hone them all differently, and as soon as we get together, we'll check compression on there. And I don't really have a reason to drive this, so I'm gonna give it to my mom, let her drive it. I don't know, 3,000 miles. We'll recheck the compression and just see where it goes. Like I said, I don't think I've ever seen anybody show the difference in honing, not honing, or honing, or you see where I'm going? So let's get this thing melted off. Pretty sure y'all understand where this video's going. It's a nice Jeep. Check it out. I honestly think it's a perfect body, never been wrecked. Just a regular Jeep. All the way around. If you had light, I don't know why it looks dirty, it's honestly not. Inside and out, let's see, perfect headliner, no sunroof, perfect bumper. Obviously had taillight issues, they all do. So yeah, the only spot, I think she grabbed it with her hands when she shut the door, just out of habit. I mean, other than that, the Jeep is literally perfect. One pick. And it's right there, I bet she was putting her grandkids in there, grab that door too. So at this point, it's obviously got to melt and kind of preheat, but I'm gonna let it melt and I guess tear it apart. I did clean the engine bay with a pressure washer, but just to kind of help me out on my end. But that in the morning, I'm gonna get this head off, get the pistons out, and we'll let y'all check them out there. But I'm not being too specific on as far as changing pistons. It seems like I do about a video once a month about changing pistons, so this one is about honing. But we have to change pistons to get to the honing part. Not really nothing else to say. Check it out. For 280,000 miles, I mean, that's pretty daggum good. It's not brand new, but yes, it is an '02 model. It's 2024, so that makes it, what, 22, 23 years old. Pretty impressive. In the morning, head's coming off, bottom end. I already got the oil draining right now. And I'll get the pistons out. Hopefully the cylinder walls are stable. Sounds pretty bad, but I believe it should be all right. Well, that took a little longer than I wanted, 25 minutes. I kept, the power steering bracket, somebody put it on there crooked and the bolts were wedged in there, but 25 minutes ain't terrible. The head, I already got the intake and all that stuff off there. Original head gasket. I don't know if you didn't know, on this side, like where the lifters are, spark plug, bore side, passenger side, if it's that hard stuff that sticks on there and will not come off right there, that stuff, that's the original head gasket. So 300,000 miles, I mean, it looks like 300,000 miles. It's crazy. I was just paying attention how the gas sprays right there, cleans it. Then it's like it bounces and bounces off there, goes down and hits the valve, whatever the word I'm looking for, right there. Splits, and you can kind of see it in the camera. Jumps around it and then hits the back wall and then cleans it down to there. So that's where your gunk builds up. If you could spray gas everywhere, like a movable injector, to have a clean cylinder. So I'm going to get it cleaned up and then vacuum test it and make sure all the valves are good. They should be. Jeep run perfect. But if any of them's bad, I'll lap them. I don't really want to do a full valve job on this particular, because this thing may come back apart. I don't know. It's just a project I wanted to accomplish. Valve seals, I will do valve seals. They're 22 years old. I'm sure they're hard as a rock. But I know it looks ugly, but it's actually pretty good shape. Just going down through here, and this one kind of does a weird thing there. So I'm gonna say that's our problem child. Hadn't played with the rest of them, but cylinders should be good. I gotta clean everything up, but you're still looking at crosshatches basically from 300,000 miles ago. It's insane. I always just try to teach little stuff in my videos, and I may have said this in another one. Don't change the story.
This stuff right here I was talking about is nearly impossible to get off there. But I do have a tool that makes it amazingly easy. This thing, Harbor Freight, I don't know, it's like 10 bucks, 20 bucks, something. And I swear I'll show you when I get to it. It doesn't try to gall into the block. Comes with different heads and all that. There's a lot of them. I've got like a gasket scraper on like a screwdriver handle. It tries to like stab into the block, but this thing don't for some reason. Works really good. Now I need to pull the oil pan and get those puppies out of there and check them out. Just think, if you pull your oil pan off, what's something you wouldn't want to see in there? Pieces of piston. That's crazy. I'm sure there's more buried in the oil, but yep, that's what that is. Gotta get that cleaned out. And yep, that's about what I was calling for. It's a no good. And that's what usually, there's several of them cracked. I've took apart good running engines and honestly all 6 of them be cracked. But this one I think I only found 1 or 2 that had a small crack. Actually the second one, or the one I just showed you, the bad one, is cracked on both sides, which is pretty rare. They usually only crack on one side for whatever reason. Pistons slap, I guess. But go back years ago, this is what I was talking about. You know, I was 18, 19 years old, broke, do anything, well, not anything, do mechanic work for money. But I'd have people, you know, didn't want to spend no money. So pull all 6 of them out, go through, you know, visually look at them and get the ones that wouldn't crack, and then go get another motor, pull out used pistons and put all 6 of them back in. Wouldn't even change the rings. Usually would pull the rod bearing from the original rod, put in that one. I would do that, but that's where we come back to the whole, I didn't hone them. They worked fine. So this Jeep, I want to see what difference does honing make. I know that sounds wrong. I know you're supposed to. I just want to do it this way just to see. Because I mean, I don't know that anybody's ever done this exact situation. I'm sure there's several thousands of tests of honing. But one thing, look at these rod bearings. Let me pick the camera up. I did some math. This thing's 22, 3 years old. And I know for a fact she drove it every single day. So that's guaranteed to be, I mean, it's guaranteed 2 startups, if not probably more than likely 4 startups. But realistically, think if you went somewhere, how many times you would start and crank your vehicle a day. Just rough, you know, safe standards. That thing's been dry started essentially 50,000 times. So that's wild. For the bearings to literally look, I wouldn't call them new. You know, this one's going to be your worst one. It's your compression one. But I mean, that's just enough wear to say that it actually has some wear on it. So, of course not. I'm not changing them. I guarantee you those are better than anything you can buy nowadays. And if you put new ones in, give this thing 5,000, 10,000 miles, they'll look just like that. I'm not going to carry the camera over there. I don't think. I guess I will in case something happens. But got to get these put back together. You can number them. Well, yeah, number these because I'm going to put the rod bearings back where they belong. But if you was doing new rod bearings, it really doesn't matter where the rods end up. So yeah, I'm going to bolt them back together, go get them cleaned up, probably work on cleaning that up, and see about some honing. I said I wasn't going to do no video, but I just washed the head. If I can get this guy to hold the camera, do a vacuum test. Hold on. He's in the middle of something. Guess I'll just start. Click. Click, click. Sometimes I will say when I pressure wash them, they do get a little debris in there. So far, all these have been good. Good. Very nice. Very nice. 300,000 miles. 300,000 miles. They definitely found their home. Good. That's all. Just touch bases. I've got all my new pistons pressed on my rods. I'm using the same rod bearings. This video is about honing, so don't forget that. This is just, I had to get new pistons to do the honing. I've got one of these you buy at your local parts store. I'm just going to be honest, even, it's a name brand. I'm pretty sure Lyle. And this is the one I got made fun of for using. so funny if you talk to professionals that do it. This is what they use. They technically don't make the right size for this Jeep. I think this is 375 and this is probably a 4-inch. I don't know that, don't quote me to it, but this one's too small. So as I'm going, I'm gonna have to like aim to the side and go around and all that crap. And then this one is way too big. It's probably too aggressive, which that's great for the video. I'm gonna try to write down on paper and show what I've got planned for each cylinder when I decide. And yeah, nothing to see here yet. I haven't cleaned up anything. I was trying to make a picture. I mean, you can still see factory crosshatches if you're looking really careful. I put new valve seals on the head. I'm fixing to get it cleaned up. This was the tool I wanted to show you. Probably easier to show you in here or out here than in there. But this stuff right there, it's like hard as an absolute rock. And this tool, obviously gonna be noisy. I don't know why, but it does not try to gouge into the block. Obviously, I'll get it cleaned up better, but you gotta get that off there. So I'm gonna do a little work, get this ready to go back together, and well, get it ready to home. Yep. So I think this is what I decided on right here. Is number one, I'm gonna get the big ball hone. And Justin said nobody recommends this, highly against it, so I'm gonna try it. Is instead of going like 45 degrees, I'm just gonna go up and down really slowly and try to be at like 10 degrees. Second hole, since it actually looks perfect, but I'm sure most people's thinking it's probably the worst one. I'm just gonna try to stick to my 45s and just absolutely overly aggressive on it. Number three, I'm gonna get the smaller ball hone and just try to be as normal as I can with it. Number four, that flat style one that I hate so bad, I'm gonna try to be normal on it. And I want to do one more, but I think I didn't want just one cylinder with no hone at all. Well, the firewall, comes out here. So I'm just not gonna do nothing with 5 and 6. I think even 4 comes under. So that's the plan. We'll go out there and get to work on it. All right, so here we go. I think I need gloves for this operation. And I'm not a professional at this, so don't expect professional results. Get all the light I can, so maybe y'all can see something. I don't know why the light won't go in the board. It just sits up here. Alright, this one is too big for the hole, and I know it. But we're going to go for it. This was the one that I just wanted to do, like, basically just keep it straight. Just kind of hover up and down. This is all just experimental. Probably need to load. A whole lot easier this way. This one makes really quick work. I think it looks good. So it honestly looks like it just got done boring the cylinder. Literally no angle at all. My mom's going to be watching this video wondering what in the cuss word's going on because she probably has no clue. But if it'll crank and run, she'd probably care less. I'll try it this way. Yeah, so this one, we just want it really aggressive, overly honed. That's hard work right there. That one puts a bog on it. You can still see the lines from something. I don't know if y'all can tell, but it looks aggressive. I'll give it a little more whirl. Alright, here we go. Man, I need some new lights. Try this. I hate it, but maybe it'll work. Woo! So should be done with that one. I'd definitely say it's aggressive. Let's see if I can grab the camera and let y'all see. This one, kind of hard to see, but you can see the lines are definitely steeper angle. Whereas this one, basically just, I wouldn't call them flat. They just don't have much pitch on them. It's drying. So now we need the ball hone that don't even fit. What did I say on it? So this was going to be, I'm trying to remember. The regular ball hone, just try to do a good job, I believe. I think the problem with that is I'm not a professional at this. I don't really know, but this one, you can tell it barely even fits the hole, so not a lot of pressure on there. That other one gets work done quick. See, it's literally, oh, I fell down. It's literally not even touching. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't do the back two cylinders. I think that looks acceptable. Now we gotta get that stupid rock out that does nothing. You know, I can't reach because my feet keep slipping. Need a top side creeper. Got some oil on this one. I'm gonna try my best. Like I said, after you use those ball hones, this one literally just does nothing. This one's real bad about crashing into the crankshaft. Maybe I won't. You can adjust the pressure on it, but I'm pretty sure I've got adequate pressure, I think. See if that did anything at all. I don't even put a scratch in. Try to tighten it up a little more. The other won't even go down. Alright, give me about 10 minutes here. Any of them will wear you out, I'll tell you that. I'm gonna hit it one more time. Goodness gracious. It probably works better than not having one at all. I hope. Whew, I'm tired. So let's see. Yeah, that's acceptable. Yeah, let me get these things cleaned up and then I'll show you best I can on camera. I'm glad I didn't do the back two because I can't even physically reach them or fit the drill. So I'm glad Justin's got a machine to do this stuff. Alright, I'm going to try to get you in there as close as possible. I'm not a professional at this. So again, the front one, I'll try to zoom in. I can't get the camera. Just, wouldn't call it overly honed, but that's just straight angles. This one was the one that I wanted to be overly honed. Still got a scratch in it, but I think it'd be alright. But you can see there's no remainder of the, like the discoloration of a factory bore. And let's see, that was the undersized ball hone. Same thing, you can still see a little discoloration of the pre-existing bore, but should be on 45, give or take. And then this one, I gave it all I have, but it just don't do a lot. I mean, it's better than nothing. So, them two, literally nothing. They're just a used cylinder. This thing's been sitting for like a year and a half. I think that's some of the rust in the cylinder walls is, like I said, it literally has been sitting, maybe even closer to 2 years. No, I don't have a tag. I was going to say I'd look and see, but gotta get them cleaned up, give them back, not mine. Gotta get the rings, raise it up, and then clean the crank and all that, get all the metal off best I can, and then put it back together and see what happens. I'll probably check compression before I crank it, and then probably check it after it runs, and I haven't thought this far. Got the head ready to slap on. Alright, we're finally getting to what the video essentially is about. Got it put back together, and I know the cylinders are I wouldn't call them dry, but they've just got the oil that I put on them, and they have no break-in. So it's pretty much back together. I'm gonna get my compression checker out and get some paper and write down these numbers, and I hope it fires up. It's not the first time I've done this, I can tell you that. So I've got 2 different gauges. Naturally, both of them's Harbor Freight. And one of them's got this thing and then a long hose. And then this one's, no, my bad. This is the long hose that goes with the other piece here. So it comes out to like 3 foot long. And from another video, seems like it reads lower than the other one. So I think what I'll do is probably just use it since you can actually see the numbers on it. And then off camera, I'll do the same test on the other gun, or the one you can't read. It's all fogged over. But it seems to read a little higher. But that way we know for sure we're getting good numbers. And while I'm changing or pulling the plugs out, so I'm not a professional that can read a spark plug professionally. I'm gonna put brand new ones in this thing, and however long I decide to run it, I'm gonna pull them out, may change them again. Over the racing I've done, I've met some people that can read spark plugs, so I'll mail them to them, ship them, whatever, and maybe just get their opinion. See if one's burning more oil or one's burning. I don't know. Just kind of help the whole video's sake. Now we got no compression. Sounds like new motor. We'll start with number 6 and 5 since they essentially are on paper should be the lowest, I believe. I don't have the video and I never watched the video, but my brother told me about 2 identical NASCAR engines that got shoved back to the side. One of them had been sitting so long it had flash rusted, and they dynoed both of them. The one that flash rusted actually made like a big amount of horsepower over it because the cylinder walls were rough. I don't know. This is why I'm doing the video, because I don't know. I want to learn myself. So number 6. That is 100 and dead between 90 and 120, just over a little bit. So that'd be 116. So I did hook it up to my shop. My shop's like 12 volt oriented, I guess would be the word, because it did sound a little weak, but shouldn't make a big difference. About 112, so pretty close to the other one. I just feel like this gauge reads a little low, but as long as they're all read the same way, it doesn't matter. So now this is the one, number 4, we did with the parts store flat rock. Didn't really do a lot of nothing. I don't know if y'all can ever see that, but 115 right on the dot. So right on par so far. Now this is number 3. I believe I did it with the undersized ball hone and tried to do a pretty good job on it for what I know anyway. I'm gonna give it about 118. Kind of hard to see. So now the one that I absolutely went to town on. If you watch my video of my squatted Jeep, this hone I used on right here, I went kind of crazy on it just because I didn't care about that motor. I ain't really drove the Jeep, but it runs really good. So that's what's got me kind of curious. Alright, so this one's overkill. I'm going to give that one about 100 on the dot. I don't think it makes a difference. Yep, about 100. Again, I'm not educated on this. I learned it all myself. Now I just wonder, after the ring seat, they call it, if these rougher ones will do better than the ones that's already, wouldn't call them glazed over. I don't really know the proper term. This one, the oversized hone on 10 degrees. I forgot about that part. Again, probably needs seated in, but it didn't even make it to 90. I'm gonna give it a good 85. That's crazy. You've seen me vacuum check all the valves unless some crazy lifter issues going on. Knowing me, probably. But I'm going to go back through, turn the camera off, and check them with this gauge, and start back on number 6, work my way forward, and just see how they compare. Kind of interesting so far. I don't know longevity, what that'll play on this. I don't know. Never done this. Well, my mom gets lucky. All I had was platinum plugs, so she's going to get platinum plugs, see if maybe they run a little better. Are you supposed to gap platinums? Or is that iridium? I think it's iridium. Alright, I'm going to gap these and stick them over in there, get some coolant in the motor, and see how it runs. I mean, the numbers. I forgot about that part. Give or take, besides, I wrote number 1 through 6 wrong, but whatever. Basically, I got to do the math on them, but give or take, they're all about 20 except for the very last one. So that first number may have actually been higher. I don't know. We're learning. Well, I hope it fires right up and runs good. I mean, that's what it should do, but here we go. Started mechanic work, something will go wrong now. When I first started mechanic work, I don't care what job you did, when you fired something up, there was a hose leaking, you forgot a ground. I've done this a few times. It does sound a lot better, don't it? I always give random information. For some reason, it seems like 02, 3, and 4, their computers on Grand Cherokees don't seem as of quality as older stuff, of course, like anything else, but they'll just start surging up and down, and it's supposed to be an idle air control valve, but more than likely it's the computer itself, PCM, whatever you'll call it. I think that's why this thing's surging. Maybe it's safe to cut the camera off for a little bit. Well, I'm driving it, and if you'd have told me that the cylinders were all honed in properly, I'll be honest, I couldn't tell. Kind of expected that, but it runs. Check engine light, of course. I ain't checked it, but I highly doubt it's anything to do with what we've done. But I did Google. I wasn't even sure how long rings take to seat, and says like, well, if you was doing a dyno pull, they's like it'd be done by all the dyno runs. But some said 500, some says 1,000 miles. So unless this video's too long already, I should be able to make it happen. It'll just be a delay y'all won't see. But yeah. Well, there it goes right there. I told her I need 1,000 miles put on it, so we'll see what happens. Maybe it won't take me too long. Goodbye. All right, got this thing back in the shop. I think it's been roughly 2 months. Pretty sure she wound up driving about 2,000 miles, so 1,000 over what they say is break-in, so it should be good. Let's take it apart and see what happens. Not take it apart, let's just see where the compression is. One day I might tear the thing apart, but not yet. I guess before I take the spark plugs out, I should say it runs perfect. She noticed nothing completely wrong with it. Tried explaining to her what I did, and she had no idea at all. Runs as good as you could ask for. Just as smooth. Yep. All right, let's take it apart. I don't know how well y'all can see, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna let y'all be studying on them as I pull them out. That's gonna be brand new. All right, there's one. A little different. 2, 3, 4, 5. It's weird. For some reason, they all look brand new. Well, that one looks different. I don't think I'm enough of an expert to be telling y'all any professional advice, even though I've got race car. The only one I really noticed was, you know, I bet that makes sense too. They say that 1 and 6, because the way, let's see, number 1 gets the coldest water to the block, and then it goes all the way back. Number 6 is the hottest cylinder because it's got to go through all them. Then it goes up through the head, then this way. So 6 is the hottest running, and then number 1 is the coldest cylinder, but the hottest head temperature. So these, like I said, I don't know how well y'all can see, but going down inside of there, number 6 and number 1 is the only one that goes as far as I can see. So I don't know. This might not tell us nothing. Like I said, this was just some video idea I had. Just kind of curious. Probably get hated on for doing it, but cool. So let's get a compression gauge. See if we made any difference. I was so worried I lost this paper, but I actually found it. It was laying over there under another piece of paper. Alright, I ain't never used this computer camera here, but I made a mistake and I got scared. I'm gonna see if we can get this to focus. Alright, so the top line is my that new gauge that didn't read very high. And then off camera, that's my old gauge. Alright. Well, what I screwed up is number 1 is actually number 6. And then, yeah, vice versa. So I'd seen the number 1 and I did the numbers there, but actually I had to flip them all around. So this 139 was actually that one. So anyway, it's the same results. Really doesn't change drastically nothing. I just made a mistake. And I was terrified that I was going to have to redo everything. But here you go, back to it. So sweet, that'll help out a lot. Being months ago, I'm pretty sure I wound up using this gauge because it was reading higher numbers. I'm pretty sure. If not, I'll figure something out. Got no compression. Alright, see what number 1. I'll be honest, I don't remember exactly what these was. I know I did 1 through 4, but I don't remember what I did. She is going to peak at 134. So we did break in a little bit. I don't even remember how I did this video. I may have to go edit it and figure out what I'm doing. Let's go write the numbers down and we'll figure it out then. So, alright, number 2. 151. So that one's higher. I don't know what we're going to do with this information, but I'm doing it anyway. Alright, number 3. 156. On a 4.0 used, I'm trying to think the most I've ever seen was that, well, I think that Comanche that I was struggling with, but that may not count because it had the goofed up cam. Other than that, about, I think 160, maybe 70, I don't want to tell a lie, but we're right there at it. That was 156. Number 4. It was pretty high to begin with, I believe. 156, maybe 157. So we'll just write it down as 156. So now I'm pretty sure the back 2 was the ones that I did not hone at all. So that's what we're kind of curious about. Alright, here we go on this one. Maybe y'all can see a little bit. We'll go with 147. So about 10 down. But the front cylinder made 136, and if I remember right, I thought I did it the best. See, about 157, give or take. Or 147, I'm sorry. That's with no hone at all. Alright, number 6. I'm going to give it a 148. Not bad. I feel like number 1 was the one I did. No, number 1 was the one I did 10 degrees, I'm pretty sure on. Or the really light angles. So maybe people that build motors for a living know what they're talking about. Let's go again. I was given the benefit of the doubt. I'd give it a 139. So 136, 139 is significantly lower than the others. Now I have to figure out what I was going to say to y'all because I don't really know what to do at this point. I don't know how well this camera will like it, but you can see. Wow, that's crazy. Harbor Freight light gives off some weird vibes. Maybe this will work. If you can see the white thing there, see how the black is coming up on it? I don't really know if that tells us anything or not. So maybe my camera will take pictures off my phone's camera here. See how the white goes up back in there? See, that's something to do with the porcelain actually glows and creates that line right there. See how it's raised up on that one and that one? I mean, that just could be injector, I guess you'd say performance or something like that, but it's weird. 1 and 6 go all the way back and then they start building a line. So I'm gonna send them to my race car guy and see what he says. I feel like that spotting means something right there too. Everything else seems to look good though. So I got just a regular set of 985 auto lights. I'm just gonna put new plugs back in it again. And this may be a short video, like a year from now. I'll pull them back out. I'll stick them in, make sure it runs, and then go from there. So one thing I was curious about is oil consumption. It's got new valve seals, so I feel like it's not gonna be burning oil through there. And I don't know if normal oil consumption is normal for a break-in, but if that'll ever make out, probably won't. My camera won't focus, but it's about half a quart low, so feel like that's normal for break-in. I don't 100% know that. If you do, I would like to know. But as far as it showing up on the plugs, I can't tell. I feel like what I'm seeing is fuel. But I've got a picture sent to my guy that should know what they look like. Curious what he says. We'll make sure it runs before I give it back to my mom, and then I'll tell you why I did this video. Yeah, it's all good. He puts the grease on there if you're wondering. I'll teach that another day. But only reason I did this is because we know these things are going to be going through pistons. They're just getting old. They're going to crack. We know that's what's going to happen. And I'm going to say most people are probably capable of doing it, but they don't know about honing and all that stuff. So as far as just pulling the pistons out, slapping them back in, I don't think it's necessarily that hard, but you get on these forums and all that, and these people that know everything and down you for what you're doing are going to shove you in the ground for not honing it and all this proper break-in technique. That's proof. I rarely ever hone one, and I'm not saying it's good nor bad. That's your opinion on that. That's all I'm trying to prove, is that you can put them in there, just slap them in there and go again. I mean, is honing to a certain extent better? I'm sure it is, or they wouldn't teach you that. But for the little guy that don't have tools, don't have a shop, probably doing it in his driveway, you know, maybe can't find a motor, just trying to save money, trying to do it right. Whatever the situation is, there's your proof. You can just pull them out, put some new ones on the rods. I'm working on, I got a website selling hats and all that stuff. I'll put it right here. Working on a giveaway maybe one day, but just still learning the stuff. But I think I'm trying to find a way to go ahead and get used rods and put a set of new pistons and rings and have that options on my website. That way, because most machine shops are months behind, or if you even have a machine shop to put the piston on the rod, you got to heat it up and all this funny stuff. But that way, you can just go ahead and order them, have them sitting there. When you tear yours apart, you can put those in, and then we'll do a core exchange on the rods, because that's the biggest thing. But that way, you can do it in your backyard. I mean, it takes me, well, I don't really count, but I can pull one in the morning, 8 o'clock, pull the head off, put the pistons in, crank it up, and be driving it by 5 o'clock that day. So I'm sure it'll take other people longer, but keeps you on the road. You got good pistons. That should be, you should be good for a long time after that, hopefully. But I'm waiting on him to text me back, and I'll fill you in on what he says. And then, like I said, if you follow along, I'll let you know progress years down the road. She likes the Jeep. She's going to keep driving it, so we'll get some longevity on there. But as far as I know, 2,000 or 3,000 miles, whatever it's been, it's did fabulous. So if you need to fix yours, get ahead of it while you can. You don't want a busted cylinder wall. So here you go. I got the Haynes book out. Cylinder compression pressure, 120 to 150. So our end results, 136 was the lowest and the highest was 156. Absolutely in spec. And then this is the curious one. Maximum variation between cylinders is 30. The two back ones I didn't hone, wow, they're literally the exact same. These funky numbers up here, we're not going to count them. We can, but this is final results. That's what you care about. See, these are the two. Pretty sure I did these with a stone, and they are just a little bit higher, but literally the same. And then I think that's the one I got wild with. It's 151, which is just a fuzz over that number. Pretty sure this is the 10 degree that I just barely put any angle on it, and it's a little bit lower, but let's see, 136 and 156 be our highest and lowest. So that's 20 on the dot. But if you factor in the legitimate ones, that was on purpose. So that to that is not even, what, 9, 8, 9, 10. I'm not good with numbers. Maybe 12. So absolutely perfectly in spec. I don't see any more numbers y'all need to know. Alright, so I was trying to finish this video up here real quick. And I've texted a couple of buddies about the whole spark plug deal. And I guess neither one of them wants to be, I guess they don't want to put their opinion on there and be wrong. I don't know. Either way, if you got your opinion on the spark plugs, shoot a comment. To me, they all look good as far as oil consumption or whatever, clean burn and all that stuff. But just a random video. I was kind of curious. Like I said, I'd never seen anything exactly to a T done like this. But I'm sure it's been done, but there's my clip of it. Like I said, this will help somebody out that needs to change pistons. You can just pull them out, slap them in there. I've been doing it for years. You'll be good, but if you want to hone it, works too. Hope you enjoy. Thank you. Have a good day.